So today I'm your speaker for today, and before we go into the talk, let us prepare our hearts and mind with a meditation. So if you would sit comfortably, close your eyes if you're comfortable with doing that, and take a slow, deep breath in, and then a slow, complete breath out. Another deep breath in and a deep breath out. One more time. Deep breath in and exhale, softening your shoulders, loosening your jaw, relaxing your hands. Now imagine that with each breath out, you gently set aside the events of the morning. Any worries, plans, to-do lists. You don't have to push anything away. Just let it drift to the background for now. And picture your mind and heart as a spacious, open vessel for love and peace. Now take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, say silently to yourself, I am here, I am open, I am willing. Now I gently invite you to open your eyes, wiggle your hands and toes, stretch your body if that feels right. I feel like some of you went way, way far away. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, so our talk for today is Your Purpose is Calling You. But before I get into that, let me say, when Johnny read the Daily Word, it talked about the season of Advent. Advent is this time, the few weeks right before Christmas, where we anticipate the coming of the Christ consciousness and unity. In the traditional story, the coming of Jesus, the birth of Jesus. So it's a time of newness and a time of beginning, these weeks that started the last week of November and goes right up to Christmas. So that's the Advent season, the coming. And so I feel like I'm anticipating something new for me and for you in this Advent season. All right, so I always start my talk with a little bit of a story that connects to the talk. So hang in there, you'll see how it connects in the end. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes. All right, so as many of you know, I teach, a professor at a local university here in Los Angeles, and I teach in the religious studies department. And I don't get to decide what I teach. There's a department chair who determines what we teach every semester. So, I mean, it's not like statistics. It's in the realm of religious studies, but she decides. Lori is the department chair and she decides. And I generally teach world religions or another class on purpose, calling, and vocation. And that one's my favorite one to teach. And so Lori, every semester, over the last 2 semesters, she puts on the schedule these Bible classes. So like a New Testament, introduction to the New Testament, introduction to the Old Testament. Guess how many students sign up for it? None. None. Each semester, nobody signs up for it. Guess how many sign up for that purpose, calling, and vocation class?
A lot.
Filled. The day of registration, they're always filled up. So I'm assigned to teach those Bible classes, and I'm secretly grateful that nobody signs up because I don't have to teach them, not because I don't enjoy it, but it's because the reason why I think, this is my theory, I didn't do research on this, I think the reason why they're not signing up for the Bible classes is because they have preconceived notions about what the Bible is, and either based on their experience, they feel like it has no relevance for them. That's what I make up. And so I quietly say to myself, I wish Lori would stop putting those on the schedule. But if she did and they showed up, I would try to help the students see that they relate to them. We even tried to be creative. We called it used to be the introduction to the Old Testament. We called it decoding ancient wisdom. They still didn't sign up. But, I think I was the one who came up with that title because I believe that's what it is. And I wish I could share that with them, but I don't. However, I get to share that with you. I do believe the Bible, and Unity does too, believe that the Bible has ancient wisdom for us today. It's not just for that time and that day. It has relevance for us here today. All right. I'm trying to very carefully not get tangled up with this going on here. So if you see me doing this is what's happening behind here. Okay, all right.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it's like, it's poking out into my paper, so I'm doing this. So if you see that, that's what's happening. All right. So I believe the Bible is, and does have ancient wisdom for us here today. And Unity believes that the metaphysical understanding of the Bible, beyond the physical, it still speaks today. And that's why we're here in this moment right now. And so for our time together in the next few minutes, I want to talk about the ancient wisdom that says your purpose is calling you. Your purpose is calling you. And this comes from the Bible, New Testament, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, in case you're interested for looking up later. And it's about an announcement. Announcement. Not like the announcements that we started with at the beginning of our service today. I mean, I've said this before when I was a service assistant about the announcement. We kind of think, oh, this is just something we have to do during the week, but they really are opportunities to practice our spiritual growth and development, to do things to develop. So I believe there's value in those announcements. However, I'm talking about a different announcement today. This announcement is commonly called the Annunciation, and it's again from the Gospel of Luke. All right. It's the story, this Annunciation story, is a story of Mary. This Advent, and during this Advent season, it's the story of Mary, and it's an announcement of something new. An announcement of something new. So now, first let me tell you about the passage. I'll just give kind of a summary of the passage. I'm taking this from Luke chapter 1, beginning in verse 26. And the story, again, is about Mary. And as I mentioned, Annunciation means announcement. All right, so I'm going to summarize it. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, and by the way, try to imagine anew, because we talked about this being a new season, a dawning of a new event, Advent. Try, if you've heard this story before, which I'm imagining many of you have, think of it, picture it in a new way. Just try to bring your mind there, okay? All right. So in the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sends an angel, Gabriel, to a little town called Nazareth, to a young virgin named Mary, who is engaged to Joseph, a descendant of David. The angel Gabriel greets Mary and tells her she's favored by God. Mary's confused and disturbed by this greeting, but Gabriel reassures her and tells her not to be afraid. He then tells her that she will conceive and bear a son, and that she is to name him Jesus. He will be great, called the Son of the Most High God, and he will give him the throne of David. So he'll reign over Jacob's house forever, and his kingdom will have no end. This is the announcement from the angel Gabriel to Mary. And so Mary is confused, and so she asks, how can this happen since she is a virgin? So Gabriel explains to her that the Holy Spirit will come upon her, and the power of the Most High will overshadow her, so the child will be holy and called the Son of God. Gabriel also tells her that her relative Elizabeth, who was thought to be barren, is now 6 months pregnant, because nothing is impossible with God. So Mary responds in surrender and faith, and she says, "Here I am, the servant of God. Let it be with me according to your word." And the angel leaves. So that's the background of the story we're talking about today. All right, so the angel's message to Mary is an announcement of something new, a spiritual beginning that's happening inside of her. And her response shows us that she has a willing heart. Mary's calling doesn't start with something outside of her. It starts on the inside with a willing heart. She has a willing heart to receive the announcement that something new and spiritual is beginning inside of her. It's an inner awakening, a new awareness that she can express in this new way of God's love, even when it seems impossible or unheard of or something that she never thought of before. This announcement was about her calling. And this announcement, this annunciation, isn't only about Mary. In Unity, we don't just look at this story as what happened long ago to someone else. We also ask, what does this mean for us here and now? And Unity says this angelic message to Mary is the announcement of a new spiritual dawning in awareness. A spiritual dawning in awareness. And we're talking about something that can happen inside of anyone, inside of me, inside of you, inside of anyone. In this view, the Annunciation isn't only about Mary. It's also a picture of how each person is being called from within, a calling to our true purpose, which is, you want to know what our true purpose is? It's to be who you really are. It's to be who you really are. Your true purpose is not a job. It's not a title. It's not a role. It's not what you do. Your purpose is about who you are. It's about who you were created to be. You were created to be who you are uniquely. Your true purpose is to be who you are and who you were created to be. And then from there, you do whatever it is you do. But it starts with who you are. It's from your true self. That's your true purpose. Now, just as Mary received a message that awakened her true self through this surprising news, there are moments when you and I sense a deeper truth about ourselves. It might be a quiet inner voice saying, I feel like there's more. There's more than you realize. I don't know if you've ever felt anything like that. There's more than you realize. That soft inner nudge that says, you are more than a role. You are more than whatever's going on in this season of life. There's something deeper in you. This new vision of yourself is rooted in divine love, divine meaning, and divine purpose. It doesn't come from pushing or striving or forcing it or making it work, or from other people's expectations. It arrives like a gift, an invitation to grow into your true self, which is your true purpose. So this talk today is about an announcement that your purpose is calling you. When Mary received her announcement, her first response was confusion. How can this be? The same question often arises in us when a new calling shows up. We might say something like this, me? How can I do that? Or we might say, how can that be at this age? Or we might say, how can that be given my particular circumstances? or something like that. But Mary stayed open. She listened. She leaned into trust. So this teaches us that discovering our true purpose starts with openness, being willing to believe that God may be calling you to be someone beyond what you imagined. You may not understand how it'll all work out, but you can still say in your own way, here am I. I am someone who is willing. I am someone who is open. When you become someone who's willing, someone who's open, something new begins to grow inside your thoughts. For Mary, the angel's message leads to something new forming inside. Spiritually, this shows us how a new identity begins from inside before it ever becomes visible in your actions. And it may seem small at first. It may feel fragile. It may even feel a little unreal, but it grows quietly. And as it grows, it begins to change how you think, how you feel, and how you live, slowly. And you might even find yourself saying something along these lines. I can't keep living the way I used to do. Or something like, I can't keep ignoring this desire that keeps bubbling up, this deep desire. Or you might find yourself saying, I can't keep telling myself it's too late. That's something new growing in you. When this higher vision of you takes root, it starts to guide your decisions. You begin to act from love instead of fear. You make decisions that honor your true self. You walk through life with more courage and a deeper sense of meaning. This is how the divine shapes you from the inside, helping you become the person you were created to be. So now the question becomes, well, how do we recognize this inner calling? I don't know if anybody had that question. How do we recognize this inner calling? How do we notice when a new beginning in ourselves is ready to be born? How do we know? The Annunciation, the announcement to Mary, teaches us something important. Your purpose often speaks through the desires of your heart. Not every desire and not every whim, but the deep, steady desire at the core of who you are. And ancient wisdom from Psalms 37 says, delight yourself in God, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Now, this doesn't mean God gives you anything you want or anything your ego demands, like some have interpreted this to mean. Unity teaches that this means the desires of your heart are deep inner longings placed there by God. Those desires were put there by God, divinely inspired and not ego-based. They arise when your mind is open to spirit. In other words, when you delight in God, when you stay connected in divine presence. And we know in unity, we stay connected through prayer, meditation, and study. So when you stay connected to this divine presence, the desires that form in your heart are actually God's desires, wanting to be expressed through you. These desires come with creative power. They are already filled with the energy needed for them to be fulfilled. And Unity puts it this way. They say, desire is the onward impulse. The onward impulse of the ever unfolding soul. Now, what does that mean? Here's a simple way of saying that. Desire is God tapping at the door of your heart. Desire is God tapping at the door of your heart. So if you have a desire that keeps coming back, that keeps knocking, pay attention to it. That may be God tapping at the door of your heart. All right, so here's a few ways you can notice when God may be tapping at the door of your heart. Here's the first way. In no particular order, but I'm just saying them in this order. First way is to Pay attention to what you deeply want. What you deeply want, not surface wants or quick wishes, but those longings that keep coming back. They just keep coming back. These are the things that make your heart come alive. They're not about ego or others' expectations. They're quiet, steady, and meaningful, and they keep coming back. Here's some examples. You might notice, I keep having this feeling that my life experiences, both good and hard, are meant to help someone else now. That's an example of something that might keep coming back. Here's another example. You might be feeling, I feel like a steady pull to volunteer or give back in a way that really matters. It keeps coming back. Or here's another example. I keep thinking about finishing that project that I put on hold for years and years. It's suddenly coming back to my mind and it won't let me go. Here's another example. I keep thinking I'm not done yet. There's still something meaningful I'm supposed to do with this next season of my life. Those are examples of ways to pay attention to the deep longings, the deep desires. So those are the longings calling for your attention. That's one way to know what those desires are. Now here's the second way. Now pay attention to the simple one. Because sometimes purpose starts with a small spark, an interest, an idea, or a pull towards something good. It might not feel big enough to call a purpose. It might just feel like, hey, I kind of want to try this, or I feel drawn to that. Even simple ones can be clues pointing toward a deeper desire God has placed inside of you. Don't dismiss it just because it seems small. Remember, the Christ child started as a seed. All right, now here's one more way to pay attention. How do you know where these desires? How can you know if God's tapping on the door of your heart? Pay attention to divine ideas and happy accidents. Your calling can show up through ideas that just pop in your mind. Sudden ideas, new interests, repeated thoughts that can be gentle hints. These aren't random. They may be divine nudges inviting you to notice something important. And you might think to yourself, where'd that idea come from? Seemed like out of nowhere. Where'd that idea come from? Or, why do I keep thinking about this? Why does this come up over and over again? Pay attention to those thoughts. And also, pay attention to what we sometimes call happy accidents. When you meet the right person at the right time, or an opportunity shows up out of nowhere, out of the blue, and it was the exact right thing. Or you overhear a conversation that speaks directly to the thing you were thinking about or your situation. Pay attention to those happy accidents. Those are moments and often signs that divine ideas are trying to get your attention. They can be like little angel messages in everyday clothes. All right, so now to kind of sum this all up. Your inner calling often shows up in simple ways. A desire that won't go away, an idea that excites and energizes you, a coincidence that feels meaningful. These are your announcements, your inner angel messages. They are God's way of saying, pay attention, something is new, ready to be born in you. So today, I invite you to do what Mary did. Stay open. Listen within. Allow yourself to trust that God is at work in you. And you don't have to figure out the whole plan. You don't have to see the end from the beginning. You can start simply by saying in your heart, here I am. I am someone who is willing. I am someone who is open. Let it be with me according to your word, God. So watch closely. Listen gently. Your purpose is calling you. Namaste.